welcome back to another episode of the Fake Friends Podcast. We're ripping with episode 18. You know why we're here. What's going on?
You know, same old. Well, I can't even say same old same because shit's different these days.
Yep. I'm a circle.
Guy's got headphones. He's got a huge ball in his face.
I got light.
Got light. That's cute. That's key.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna say when I touch the right side of my head, it mirrors it, but it still doesn't. Nope. Still confusing me. So I shouldn't look at myself. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Got a new setup. Still trying to make it work out. Hopefully my audio sounds good. If not, oh well. Deal with it. This is amateur.
It's working.
Yeah, it's amateur hour apparently. So
it's working. It's working good enough. Why not?
Yeah, no, it's sick. Once I kind of trial and error and like troubleshoot the capturing thing, because I'm telling you, dude, when I was playing back the audio, it was too like you get like those crackles, like a buffering type issue. So I don't know if there's just too much shit on my hard drive or whatever, but if I get that set up, man, I can be ripping Ableton Live and doing like sessions and whatnot. It'll be sick. Trust me, it'll be freaking dope. Yeah, it'll be sick. So
yeah, that'll be worth it.
No, it's freaking dope, dude. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, and other than I don't have a green screen anymore protecting my whereabouts. Now you know where I am. You know how to find me. You know where that wall is. You know where I'm at.
Yeah, that's all right though. That's all right. Nobody wants to come to the dungeon or they get the pump.
That's right. That's the name of this episode. The circle.
The circle. Holy shit! All right.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean,
places I can go with that one.
Since we last talked, yeah, I think I don't know. I think we got yeah, we had a good conversation about music.
Good kind about music. Yeah, we got a new record coming this Friday. That'll be fun.
Yep.
Be a lot of fun. And then another one coming after that. The record we talked about will be coming out after that one.
Yeah, we figured we just put it out. We talked about it. Yeah. We named the episode after it, so we might as well just put it out.
Might as well just put it out.
Hell yeah.
And more cooking up. But I could ramble about music all day. I do want to talk about AB though, because I think you sent me the video, and when he was in the Uber driver. Uber was like, "Yeah, this would be great for my Netflix special." That's a calculator. Like, he's very calculated. Clearly, people think he's like losing it. Obviously, he's a calculated person. He knows exactly what he's doing. And anybody that thinks football isn't a tool to like propel yourself in life, or like you should care more about football than life, is crazy, because football is a dangerous game. So I don't blame the man. And I heard it was like some word that he was like a certain amount of catches away from a bonus or something like that. And that's what had him over the top. I'd be over the top too. So you don't know the whole story. It just looks crazy because he's on camera walking off the field and it's not professional. But, you know, we live in a very unprofessional world. So who cares? In my opinion.
Like when I saw it, I was just like, oh man, the media's going to eat this up. And I was just I was enjoying it because I'm like, you know what, good for you, AB. I mean, we're out there in the locker room. I mean, you know, I don't agree with abandoning your teammates, but at the end of the day, it's like, we're not there. Yeah. I've been in situations where I wanted to fucking scorch the earth, you know, being on teams. And like you just said, I mean, he's not stupid. He's won a Super Bowl. He's played for a very long time. You know, he has no reason to keep playing. If he felt like that was it for him, who are we to judge? Like, he was like, I'm going out like this.
I'm out.
And it was great. I loved it.
I'm out. And he's absolutely right. You think Netflix isn't going to do a special on AB?
Yeah, dude, my friend.
That storm off just makes for a great ending.
Yeah, they were like, yo, AB just took his clothes off and walked off the field. I was like, what? No way. And he did. It was like, it reminded me so much of the movie Slapshot. You ever seen that movie from like the 80s or something?
Yeah. I know the movie you talk about.
Like the best player on the team who hated like the antics, they like in the championship, he just skates around the ice in his jockstrap.
Yeah. I good for him. That's all I can say. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. You know, I think there will be some sort of follow up. He's definitely trying to do. I mean, you heard him in the Uber car. You know, this will make my Netflix special. I don't know why you'd leave a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending team unless you didn't have something up your sleeve. But yeah, he just probably that's what I think it was. Had something to do with the incentives and something in the team, and he just knew. Like, he knew this was probably his last year and didn't give a fuck anymore. It was like, hey, whatever. if something doesn't go the way I want it to, I don't care what it is at that moment.
And isn't he fined for like faking his COVID card or something? Wasn't that him or something like that?
Not probably.
I think he had to fine the player or something.
Yeah, like set up with everything was like, hey man, like I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out of here. Again, not the most professional way to do it, but like honestly, it's called the National Football League, not professional, not like the national, not like, you know what I mean? Like I never looked at the NFL as a professionalism type sport. I think like they're a bunch of kids for the most part. Right. I just never looked at it as like, I do think there's a way to carry yourself professional, but I wouldn't recommend storming off the field. But you can't,
Well, no, I mean, like we both played sports our whole life, and at the end of the day, if someone doesn't want to be there, I don't care what point of the game or practice it is, go home. Yeah,
go home. Don't stay there.
We don't need you.
Go leave, home. Like in the heat of it. If you don't want to be here, leave.
You don't want to be here, leave. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I honestly tried to stay away from like any of the hot takes from it because I didn't want to hear nonsense. He's this. I'm like, no, he's not. Like people just don't.
Speaking of that, I can't even watch this stuff anymore. Like I don't watch any of those debate shows where people just ramble off their opinions because it's like I think a lot of it is all just for shock value and clickbait. Like that people want to have the hottest take on every scenario. Sometimes they're talking with like credited information, and then a lot of times it's just you know what I think. And let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you, and I'm like, I'm here for the hot takes. Don't care.
Yeah, and 10 years ago, those shows had more of a like a hot take input, but then when they realized how much more traffic and attention they get for just being controversial or having hot takes, that's what it just became. Like they don't care about, being unbiased and fair.
It can be very uninformative too. Like it's
exactly. Well, everyone knows that. Well, not everyone, but if you take a step back and analyze content, media shows, when you take a hard stance on something, that's when you get a huge following because a hard stance, you now have to oppose someone completely on the other side. If you're playing the middle on everything, you're going to not be too popular because you're not going to like butt heads with someone. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, you're not going to invoke, any type of emotion one way or the other. So people just look over it. But
you got to take a hard stance to.
It's out of hand now. So
it is out of hand.
It's completely out of hand.
Especially with SAS, that man.
Yeah, that guy is on another planet. People like him too. People like him. People listen to him. I think all of them. You know what? I'll rant on them real quick. So SAS is one of the biggest shock value people on the planet. Kendrick Perkins is another one. And what's my guy? He loves LeBron James.
Colin Cowherd.
I like Colin Howard. I used to watch it. Like I didn't mind his show.
Yeah.
And then the girl who was like his assistant, I guess, left the show. And I kind of stopped watching it because it just like kind of took a left turn. What was that girl's name? She got at LeVar Ball when he was on there. She said something to LeVar Ball when he was on there, and he like just told her to shut up. Remember that? I can't remember that girl's name. It might have been Late.
I want to say Brendan something.
Christina something, maybe. Yeah, Christina Late, something like that. I don't know. And then what's the other guy? Is it Nick? He loves LeBron James.
I hate that guy. Nick Wright. He's an idiot. Nick Wright's a straight up moron jackass.
Fishes. Guy just fishes. He just fishes.
Just says shit.
Fishes to say things, man. And ironically, one person who I think does have some who tries to put like some thought into things he says before he says them, or won't say things that like have no merit at all is Kellerman. To like some extent, he still plays the game that he's supposed to play, but he like the times that I do catch him talking, he like just talks like, if I don't know something, I don't know something. I'll give him credit for that. Everybody else just like likes to guarantee things without any type of information, and it just becomes very annoying to watch. And then when you like pull back and you think about it, you kind of just like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like watching them shows, but like think about watching for an hour, two people voice their opinion and basically just influences your opinion. You don't have a chance to develop an opinion on anything because you're just listening to two people debate that you think have some validation based on the platform that they're debating on.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing is, so especially with a show, we'll just use like First Take, is if you're an impressionable kid or whoever, doesn't have to be a kid. A lot of adults get sucked into nonsense, but you know, if you go to watch that show for answers, so you can go debate your friend at fucking work or wherever it may be. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, anyone could shit on us and say, well, you guys are hypocrites. You're doing the same thing. I'm like, dog, on this podcast, me and you don't tell you to fucking believe shit.
Believe anything. You're like, you believe what you want to believe.
Matter of fact, you can fucking fact check everything I say. By all means, fucking say whatever you want. I don't give a shit. But like, we're not up here trying to say like, you know,
this is the case. Believe this. So-and-so wants this.
We try to say all aspects of like the point of view, whereas like, you know, Kyrie Irving didn't want to get a shot and they just attacked them when it was like, oh, a year ago, everything was pro black people. And now here's an instance where a black man can't work and they're just shitting on him. So
it's all of a sudden different.
Funny how the tables
turn. And then the tables turn again when they're when they're debating like the Nets. So glad the Nets get Kyrie back for at least half the games because they're going to need him to win a championship. But a minute ago, he was just a bad person for not falling in line and standing on what he believed in. That like it's too hypocritical for anyone to have to sway their opinions. My opinion, like I just can't do it. Not for me. Not for me, at least. It's not a source of information. It's deemed as a source of information. That's what I think is the issue. It's like it's like a credible source of information, and it's not information. It's just unvalidated opinions.
And here's another thing I don't
dangerous.
Right. And here's another thing I don't care about as well is I don't care about fucking drama in sports. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I care about the guys competing. What happens during their duration of their sport. For whatever, like whatever someone says or does, like I don't care. Even when like the Pacers went to the crowd and started duffing fans, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Dude, that's great. Fuck yeah! Like that's awesome. Like, yeah. Like who cares? Like making a big deal about nothing, dude. Like play up. Okay, someone threw something at a player. He got pissed, reacted, and started fighting fans. Like whatever. That's not the first time that's happened. And
he's not a normal person because he's a basketball player. You know, I mean, like what would you do if you were sitting at a bus stop and somebody threw a cup at you?
The Boston Bruins in the 70s went into the crowd with their skates on and started duffing fans. And those dudes
what would you do? What would you do if you're sitting at a bus stop or if you're in a movie theater and somebody just chucks a cup at you? You gonna not run up there and fight them?
It's so annoying, dude. Like they should be talking more about how Ben Simmons can't hit a 3-pointer than what someone's doing with their health, dude. None of that shit should matter.
Thank you. It's just
now I want to get into why it's like that. Well, those people get paid to say certain things because
millions of dollars
they have to promote a certain narrative. That's the way shit is. You know, ESPN's owned by Disney. And Disney's owned by other.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's another conversation for another show.
Another day.
But yeah, you know, that's But yeah, it is. I used to love those shows for the because it used to be good banter. It used to be good back and forth. Like
it did.
Takes, especially with Skip and Steven when they first started off in First Take. Like that was the first show
because it was authentic, man. It was authentic when they first started. But now it took when social media took a turn in like 2015, and they realized that 1 minute clips gained so much traction and attention. I mean, and I'm sure contracts got revamped and you know, the zeros got added to certain people's contracts on those shows. So they were like, hey, I'm getting paid more. I'm this, that. It just loses, I think, some of its authenticity. And that's kind of where it's at now. But what are you going to do? You know?
Yeah, what are you
not much you can do.
Yeah.
I just watch sports. I just don't watch the show. Just watch the game. You know?
Well, I will give this one guy a lot of credit because he actually changed sports for me. Was maybe in 20, because we used to watch Colin Cowherd, The Herd, a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe in like 2015, somewhere around there, give or take a year. He made a comment about sports. He was like, love the sport like your team. And I was like, that's the realest thing I ever heard. And
I'm telling you, he used to go ahead, not to cut you off.
Well, no, just because when you love the sport, you can appreciate everything. And you're not going to get emotionally torn when your team doesn't win. You can be upset. You're not going to want to fight someone. You know, you can, be sad they lost, but wanting to hurt people or blame everything on refs or whatever, it's just, dude, it's retarded. Like, it's pointless.
He used to say a lot of sensible things.
And you can appreciate the other talents in the league. And once you do that, man, you detach yourself from your quote unquote team. Like, you can still support teams, but being like, oh, I got to be like a super fan. not hating on those people because I love passionate fans, but again, it's more so like I can't like another team. Like, what do you mean? Like, you can't like another player, play for another team? Like, do you like the sport? Like, this is, I don't know. I think when you start getting too far to I can only be a super fan, it's just ridiculous. But when he said that, it made a lot of sense, and it definitely made me appreciate more players and just kind of be like, oh.
But I think, but you know why that is. I think you said this. I think we were talking about that before, and I think that's just because when people, what do you call it? What do you want to call it? Diehard fans. I think just like with anything, it makes people feel like they're a part of something, good and bad. So like if football is where you see it the most, you know what I mean? Like there's diehard fans, I think the most in football. You have them in other sports, but like people's life revolves around their football team sometimes. And that's just because when that football team is winning, that person feels like they're achieving success in life also because their football team, you know, just being able to say, I'm a fan of this team and that team is doing good makes them feel like they're a part of something good. I get that, you know, like I get people, the sense of attachment to good things. But like you said, when it's not good, you know, then you're like people are distraught. And I just think that's the part you got to avoid as a fan. So if you love the game, it's like me in basketball. Like I have 3 favorite teams right now, you know, and a handful of favorite players. And when I say teams, just teams that I enjoy watching. Same thing with baseball. You know what I mean? Like there's a handful of teams that I enjoy watching, a whole bunch of favorite players, but that's because there's a passion and an admiration for the sport itself. But yeah, I definitely think that diehard stuff comes from being, you know, just feeling attached to something positive for the most part.
You're like a bragging right there. Go hold over someone.
Yeah.
Hey, last time I checked, I didn't see you on the sideline. So, you know.
Man, I mean, you know, again.
What jersey number you wear? What jersey number you wear? Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't have one. Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, man. Yes, I think sports are great. I'm not trying to hate on sports. I love what they bring for people. It's a great distraction. It brings people together. But definitely, I think not being able to appreciate the sport and other players because how passionate you are about a team, I think is absolutely fucking ridiculous. So
that's true. That's true. Hopefully we don't have a relapse. Not to get down in this rabbit hole, but hopefully we don't have a relapse from 2 years ago where there's no sports right at the same time and games are getting postponed.
I just think honestly, if
sports, I do think sports keeps the world going around, even though the world doesn't spin. I think that's, you know, I think the sports help that big time.
No, like I just said, it's a great distraction. It really is. It brings people together from all walks of life, and it allows people to just, you know, disconnect because, I mean, now more than ever, you know, everyone's opinion, ideology, and politics are just injected into every walk of life that never used to be there. So there's one thing where you could just get away from that. And now it's, you know, to a degree, they're getting away from it because they realized how unpopular it is to fucking try to be like this woke individual. You know, if people want to say real shit, like, not saying athletes aren't smart. Like I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about athletes and how difficult it is because they're not media trained, you know? Why would they be? They're athletes.
They shouldn't be. They're athletes.
They try to help them, some firms and stuff, to try to get them to understand why media people are going to be the way they are. Just try to help them. But think about it. If you're an athlete and all you do is you just surround yourself by your craft, you don't have time to really dive deep into a world take on what's going on. So why even open your mouth on it? Because you're going to upset someone in some fashion. And if you're not fully knowledgeable on something, you might think just because you watch a show on TV, which is not going to give you the full truth, there's just no point. You know, you don't even entertain it. You know, that's why you got to give credit to like Michael Jordan for really kind of keeping his fucking lip sealed on certain things just because there was no point. Like, what's the point? What's the point?
You're not going to, I mean, you can't be anybody's savior, really.
Look how many L's LeBron has taken for opening up his mouth. That dude, and even if it's just coming from a good place of heart, like he thinks he's just doing a good thing, he's been so wrong about so many topics that he just looks like an idiot. And it's like, dude, you don't even read past the first page of your book that you're always seen taking pictures of. Like, chill out. Like, just focus on basketball. Like, seriously, like you seem like a really nice guy and you mean well, but like, just focus on basketball. Like, you keep on making yourself look silly. So,
yeah, I think, you know, I can't disagree with that because I think people, it's also the platform. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure, like, for example, LeBron James is probably one of the most popular athletes in the world. So anything that he says carries because it reaches a lot more people. But, just like with even Steph Curry, when his comment about us not going to the moon, which we never did, he I want to say it was Terrence Ross on the Magic in 2020. He said some controversial things too on like a podcast, but nobody really cares because his platform isn't as big. So right. The popularity of the athlete definitely makes a difference in terms of how intelligent or how ignorant one can appear to be, because it's going to be picked apart more than not. If that platform isn't big, your comments aren't even picked apart. People kind of just accept it for like, oh, that's your belief. Okay, cool. But like if you're deemed to be an influential character like LeBron James or Stephen Curry, people want you to say the right thing all the time. But there is no such thing as a right thing, in my opinion. Like people are supposed to have, various stances on various things. And if like it doesn't align with this apparently one whole world media agenda, then it's not the right thing. And that's where it just becomes an issue, which is, and we talked about this before. I've always said, I think somebody like LeBron James is in a tough spot. He's been one of the most popular athletes since he was 18 years old. He's going on 20 years of doing that and having to navigate that. And then not only that, but having to navigate that now with social media. Think about it. Michael Jordan didn't have social media, so eyes weren't on him all the time. They were only on him when he was on a basketball court, in a press conference, or if he made a special appearance on a talk show for something, but like everything, eyes are on guys now all the time. So it's a lot harder to navigate. I forgot who I was talking to. I think I was talking to, might have been my parents, but I was like, honestly, there's a part of me that's like appreciative of the fact that I didn't go as far in professional sports, because I wouldn't know how to navigate as a professional athlete with eyes on you all the time, because I wouldn't be conscious of the things on how it might appear or other people are going to perceive it. I wouldn't want to. I don't now. So like, I wouldn't want to with that platform. I feel like that's just so much more stress and like things you got to think, unnecessary shit you got to think about. Unfortunate that people can't just, like LeBron James should be able to have his own opinion on things and he not be crucified for them, just like me and you. Just because he plays basketball doesn't make that much different, in my opinion. It's kind of like the old saying Charles Barkley said, like, he's not supposed to be a role model. He's a basketball player. Right, I know kids look up to him, but he's not your parent. So that's just how I feel about stuff like that. Because ultimately people still have the ability to think for themselves. Right. A lot of people just choose not to. Yeah. So
that's a fact.
What can you do? But yeah, man, I don't really have much else for you. I'm glad we got this one in because needed to chop it up. Sports world is fun.
Well, I think yeah, I know we didn't intend this one to be a long hour or anything, but I do think, especially now, like just kind of thinking about it, if I was an athlete today, I wouldn't be the best at it because I was very locked in, like super competitive. So if someone was trying to tell me, which again, I have a passion for history and stuff. I do like to look for stuff, in history and learn timelines and stuff. So I'm sure at some point I'd be kind of like familiar with stuff or in events. But if someone asked me about current events going on, I'm playing baseball, 162 games. I'm like, get the fuck on my face, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the word's boring and I'm trying to win a World Series. I don't give a fuck. They'd be like, well, and then they'd be like, well, baseball isn't just life. And I'd be like, what is to me?
People wouldn't understand it.
I wouldn't understand that. So I get it. But, it is interesting. Yeah, social media did change everything for the athletes. And, it'd be interesting to know how organizations handle that for guys coming out of college into the pros. How they coach them on that to say, hey, this writer right here will try to get you to be like this, or here's this person and things you want to stay away from. Try, again, not telling them what to say, but just be mindful, like, oh, if you do go this way, like, here's what to expect, or like, just, are you trying to build a brand? Like, what are you trying to do? If you're trying to build a brand, you probably don't want to open your mouth,
Very true. I'm sure there is like social media training for rookies, etc. But there's
That's
something you just can't prepare for because it's so untamed.
That's why Marshawn Lynch is the man, because he just was like, you guys suck. I just play football, and that's all I care about. I wouldn't talk to you if I wasn't forced to. I'm here so I won't get fined.
I'm here so I won't get fined. Pretty much.
You know?
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's all it's about, you know?
But it is good, though. I mean, on the contrary, when athletes aren't afraid to share their opinions, a lot of truth gets spoken from those guys, and it's good because kids do look up to them. So when you do hear the contrasting opinion, and again, not just for things happening over the last year or so, but just in general, when you hear someone kind of shed light on something that you might not know of because it's not of a popular opinion and it teaches people something, I mean, it's kind of cool because these guys. Is one thing,
that's one thing that makes Kyrie Irving really cool in terms of, what he did, I think, just because he allowed people to be like, hey, you can think for yourself. You can make decisions for yourself regardless of how much, outside influences or pressure, no matter what people say about you, you can make those decisions for yourself. Appreciate when athletes do that because, again, like you said, the kids, they do that for the kids, and those kids need to understand that. Like, you don't have to follow people with followings or platforms. Like, you don't have to. That's not the only way of life, in my opinion.
No. Especially, there's going to be time, whether you're playing sports or not, there's always going to be a time where you got to make a really hard decision that's going to go either with the current, or you're going to stand up for something you strongly believe in or something morally, and you're going to have to make a tough decision to say, what do I do here? Am I going to be like everyone else, or am I going to, stick to what I believe in no matter the outcome, stick to my truth. And, it's crazy how people get like vilified for just, being peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Like not trying to bother anyone, like, yo, leave me alone. I just want to live my life, and you get vilified. It's kind of crazy. Like if you think about it, not to be like religious or anything, but like I was listening to a podcast and they're kind of just talking about like the story of Jesus. And at the end of the day, it's like that dude wasn't walking around being radical. He was just kind of being like, oh yeah, love each other, be peaceful, be kind. And that dude got crucified. And like, he was just telling people to be cool. And they nailed that motherfucker to a cross.
Nailed him to a cross.
So.
Been alive.
But like he wasn't, he believed in what he believed in and was willing to stick to that truth. But yeah, no, it's interesting, Even when we were playing college sports, we weren't around media like that at the school we were at. But, if we were where we were at now with a little more social media, they'd be telling us like, yo, stay off Twitter. I mean, even in our turf. Yep. So,
he said to amateurs and prospects, like, hey, be mindful of the things you post, be mindful of the things you tweet, and it's like, I was very unmindful in my college days as an athlete about the things that I said, things that I did. Like, there was no, oh my God, is this going to go in my life if I say this?
God, dude, are you kidding me?
Type of stuff we used to, like, there's a certain place we used to walk by, a certain thing I used to do. Yeah, I probably would like be in jail for it now. If I ever took a picture of it. Like, there's things you just can't do that was very unfortunate.
Dude, I used to tweet about like people I used to walk by that would like piss me off. I used to drop like hard CUNT words and shit like that. Like nothing like racist, no, like nothing like that, but just like very vulgar and like harsh shit. I used to say like reckless shit. So, I mean, shit, today you want to go back and scrape my Twitter, go for it. I don't even know what I said, but I know it probably fucking ruffle some feathers for sure. I don't really give a shit. I'll say what I say, I'm not just word, at the end of the day, like you don't want to be dicks or like hurt anyone's feelings, but at the end of the day, like a word's a word, and if you get rubbed the wrong way by some word someone's using, like just fucking shrug it off and keep pushing on with your life. Like it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, I'd rather someone have the ability to say a word that could piss me off than not be able to say it at all. So, but
that's true.
It is crazy, dude. Like I think because man, we had Twitter start up pretty much maybe right around the time
like towards the end.
Towards the end, like I remember like maybe
20,
like year or something. And Kenny was talking about tweeting at Chad Johnson, like, yo, I just tweeted at Chad.
Maybe 11.
But it wasn't as popular. Obviously, it wasn't as popular, but still, it's like that. It was the Wild West at the time. You could kind of
you could kind of do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you couldn't do as much as you can now, of course. But the basis of just everyone being accessible to everyone,
right? Yeah,
was there, which was
what's crazy about Twitter,
definitely cool.
You can literally upload like your own porno to your Twitter timeline, but if you say something that's considered a threat, you get like suspended for a week. And I'm like, dog.
And if you do it again, you get banned for life.
Yeah, like a kid could come across this and you're just letting straight dick, ass, and tits and twat all over your fucking app. But someone says something that hurts someone's feelings. It's ridiculous. It's so crazy, dude.
It's pretty wild times we live in.
Yep.
Pretty wild times, man. But with that, I'll die. With that, I'll run with that, and definitely will die on the hill of things that you did in the past don't have to define who you are in the current present, and that's kind of the world that we live in right now, which is very unfortunate because people can grow, they can change, and we just have this climate of like, well, what you did 20 years ago is still who you are today. That's not the case. I know that from like myself. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago at that. So there's no way that people should believe that. And if you do, there's something probably wrong with you because you're not perfect either. I mean, you're probably different than you were 2 weeks ago and you just don't realize it because you don't understand what influences you. So I die on the hill that, you're not, growth comes and it can happen over a short period of time or a long period of time. People got to understand that. And I'm a stand on that one.
No,
take that to the grave with me.
I'm going to follow that up and say there's a road to redemption for people. Yeah. That, there's not for like some things like obviously like pedophilia and shit like that. But something like not that extreme, there's road to redemption. So it's like someone, using social media, if they were saying some reckless shit, like going off and not to say like, they could say whatever they want, but, if you want to deem them, hateful, racist or bigot or sexist, whatever, or womanite, whatever that may be, the term you want to throw on them, they need a road to redemption. Because then if there's no road to redemption, how do you make the situation better? You know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're just going to say, oh, you're this, and now we're going to outcast you, and now you have to stick with that, and now you can't participate anymore, that's not helping the cause. You're creating another echo chamber of hate. You know what I mean? So it's like there needs to be a road to redemption for people. And you can't, it's just, I don't know, man. Honestly, I'm gonna die on this hill. If you get offended by words, you're a fucking bitch. That's my hill I'm dying on.
Great hill to die on.
Nah, seriously. Like, I'm not the one walking around just saying reckless shit to people. I'm very respectful, but at the end of the day, it's a word. You have a right to say words. And these people that tell you what you can and can't say are fucking psychopaths because it's just going to only get worse. What's the next thing you can't say? Censor words, you censor thoughts, man. So I die on that hill. Just because I don't agree with the words you use doesn't mean I respect that you have the ability to say them. I just won't be offended by them.
Right here to die on sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones, baby. Sticks and stones. So with that, shout out to my brother for a happy birthday. It's his birthday while we're recording this, so throw that out there.
Wow, tell him happy birthday. He's Capricorn like I am. That's awesome. Yeah. I knew I liked that guy for a reason.
Yep. Good guy, no personally.
Is it your pops is coming up too, isn't it?
Yep, few weeks. A lot of January birthdays for us.
Yeah, a lot of January birthdays. Yep. It's a great time of year.
Yep. We got the song coming out this Friday. We got more music coming out, more content. Hopefully I'll be able to get some sessions out on YouTube to where like I'm mixing a session that will be out on the record or something. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Need that. Sure. This is great. Stay a circle. Maybe I'll be a circle too. Maybe is that because like what shape is your camera?
It's a circle. That's what I was just looking at. I'm like, that's probably yeah, it's cool. Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
All right.